Sorry, man. It being 5 o'clock, the Lafourche Parish Council meeting of January 24, 2017 is hereby called to order. Ms. Carleen, could you do a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Jones? Here. Ms. Sposito? Here. Mr. Grove? Here. Mr. Melvin? Here. Mr. Bourgeois?
Here.
Mr. Perilou?
Here.
Mr. Oten? Here. Mr. Lafont? Here. Mr. Lorraine? And Mr. Kentrell.
Right, next, would everybody please rise for invocation by Mr. Bourgeois and Pledge of Allegiance by Mr. Jones.
Heavenly Father, we ask you to watch over us all. Please lend your spiritual guidance to our new national leaders so that they can move this country forward in the great direction that it's come from in the past. We also ask that you keep a mindful eye over those serving in harm's way abroad and those who respond to our distresses at home. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Folks, could you please remain standing, please, for 1 minute? We've lost a couple of people in the parish here recently. Our communications director, Mr. Doug Sheremy, lost his father yesterday, Doug Sheremy Sr., and also one of our dear employees, Ms. Dodie Rogers, passed away January 18, 2017. She was the office clerk at the Galliano Field office. So please, for a moment of silence. Thank you. All right, Section A, approve of the minutes. Mr. Lafont moved on a motion to accept the minutes from November 22nd, 2016 regular session, and seconded by Mr. Bourgeois. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. No, item number 2, motion to accept the minutes of December 13, 2016 regular session. Moved by Mr. Bourgeois, seconded by Mr. Lafont. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Item number 3, motion to accept the minutes of December 19th, 2016 special session. Moved by Mr. Bourgeois, seconded by Mr. Lafont. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Item number 4 will be deferred to the next council meeting, which is February 14th. All right, moving along. Section B, proclamations. Proclamation honoring the most wonderful Prince Hall Grand Lodge, free and accepted Mason for the state of Louisiana and jurisdiction by Mr. Jones.
Ms. Carleen, would you read that proclamation?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Proclamation, Parish of Lafourche, whereas most worshipful Prince Hall Grand Lodge, free and accepted Mason for the state of Louisiana and jurisdiction, and whereas the Lafourche Parish Council has learned that the Prince Hall Masonic Family Regional 1 is hosting its annual meeting with the theme Education is Our Key, and whereas the Lafourche Parish Council has learned that this organization accepts only those men who are of good character, who are God-fearing, and who possess the highest regard for family life, and whereas the Lafourche Parish Council wishes to welcome Regional 1 free and accepted Masons to the City of Thibodaux, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, and whereas the Lafourche Parish Council also wishes to welcome Dr. Ralph Slaughter, Most Wonderful Grand Master, to the City of Thibodaux, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, on this day, Saturday, January 28, 2017. Therefore, on behalf of the Lafourche Parish Council, we do hereby set our signatures and have caused to be affixed the official seal of the Lafourche Parish Council, State of Louisiana, on this 24th day of January 2017, Matthews, Louisiana.
All right, next session, presentations and our updates. Mr. Harris Griffin, Chairman of the Lafourche Parish Fire Protection District Number 9, to present an annual presentation. Is Mr. Griffin here?
Corey, he called me. He said that something came up at work. He had to attend a meeting, but he said he would forward us a report to each of the council members.
Okay, thank you,
He
sir.
apologized for being unable to attend, but work called.
Okay, and as well, the next presenter, Mr. Robert Landry from the Lafourche Parish Recreation District Number 8 will not be here tonight. He will present at the next meeting.
Is Mr. Griffin going to be presenting at the next meeting?
No, he said he's going to send the packet, or he will make a presentation? Okay, great. Okay. And is Mrs. Mary Patricia Wary here from Top Drawer Strategies? So we're 0 for 3 tonight, folks. All right, next section, engineers and architects reports. Picciolo and Associates. It's going to be a good night.
You might, Mr. Joe.
Here we go. Joe Picciolo, Picciolo and Associates, 115 Picciolo Parkway and Cutoff. Let's see. On our first project, we have Road Sales Tax District 2. It's the West 11th Drainage Street. Byron Talbot has been on the project since early December. They've been installing pipe. They're almost complete with the pipe. They have a couple of joints left to put in towards the neighborhood side. They should be done with that in the next day or so. Then they're going to, in the below right-hand corner there, you see they're building a big drainage catch basin. They're going to try to finish that up later this week and early into next week, and then divert the drainage, and then they'll start filling in the ditch behind the residences on West 11th Street. Right now, they're actually clearing trees along West 11th Street in anticipation of filling that ditch. Everything seems to be going well. The contract is actually on schedule despite the weather that we've had. The next project we have is Coastal Pump Station in Lockport. We took bids last week. Circle LLC was a low bidder in the amount of $2,586,901.50. We're taking those bids under advisement, getting with the administration and checking our budget, and then we'll get back to you for the recommendation of award. And our next project is the Leeville Boat Launch Phase 2. We issued a notice to proceed, or we're issuing that on January 30th. We did have a meeting with the contractor last week. He's ordering materials, submitting information to us about the materials that he's going to be using, and getting permits right now. And he should be finished sometime in April. Any questions?
Anyone? Mr. LaFont?
On the West 11th project, I just want to say that I pass there twice a day, every day, and I tell you what, they moving pretty quick on that project. But I just want to let, since this is going to be televised, I got so many calls, and I spoke to Mr. James. We're going to be, your project goes up to the first cross street, correct, on the current ditch that was the drainage, on fixing that one somewhat, right? Correct? Am I correct in saying that?
We're actually filling the ditch from 3235 to the last cross street on West 11th Street.
So, okay, I thought it was the first, so it's to the last cross street.
That's right.
Okay, and then, James, you said from the last cross street to the 40 Armpit is what, something y'all, we're gonna do in-house to save money, correct?
Correct.
Okay, just so the residents knows, and I tell you what, that project is looking really good, and I think y'all doing a good job on it. Thank you.
It's going to look a lot better when they fill that ditch in on West 11th Street.
Yeah, that was much needed. And you know, that was something that was inherited, Daniel, that ditch probably. Before you got. Oh, way before. That was before Charlotte got in office. They dug that ditch. And they left those residents in a mess. People's properties, their cement slabs are cracking. It was pretty bad, so I'm glad we got it done. Thank you.
Was it your firm that did the original boat launch, Leeville?
Yes.
Yeah, I went last week. I finally made it down there for the first time. It's nice. I mean, it's a first-class facility. So we appreciate that, man. It's very, very first class.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
Sandy Guidry with Angelette Piciola, 15511 East Main Street, cutoff. For the Parlor Rose Pump Station, I actually just received the signed notice to proceed contract, so we'll send that to sea level. They should be getting started next week. Highway 308 Road and Drainage, we have the DOTD permit. I spoke to the state, we're still waiting on approval to advertise for bid. I spoke to them yesterday, and he promised me that I was at the top of his list. So hopefully we'll have that in the next week or so, and we can start advertising. Industrial flood wall and drainage. On the Phase 1 project, we have one driveway left. Sea level has one driveway left to complete. Once that's done, we'll submit the final pay request, and Phase 1 will be done. We are still in the design phase of Phase 2, and that includes upgrading that T-ball pump station. Any questions? Thank you, sir.
You're off the hook tonight.
Thank you.
Any other engineers? Architects?
Good afternoon. I'm Matthew Rodrigue with Duplantis Design Group. Let's see. Our first project is the Layton Pump Station in Thibodaux. Right now, we're currently on the Phase 1 design, or we are going to be submitting our H&H study to go SEP at the end of this week. Second project is the parish-wide pump station, and this project just various pump stations throughout the parish, just I guess a different scope on each of them. This one, along with our next project here, the Timberland Pump Station, we're currently going through the joint permit application with DNR and the Army Corps of Engineers. And once we get those permits, we'll move forward into final plans and bidding. Galliano Bridge repair. I know the contractor got back out to the site last Wednesday, and they started removing and replacing some of the sheet piles. This was a picture from, I guess the bottom right was a picture from late last week. They had finished the section adjacent to the bridge, and they were moving on to this week and beginning some of, I guess, the radius kind of coming back towards the highway. Their current completion date is 3/14/2017. When I spoke to the contractor, he mentioned they were a little behind schedule, but he anticipated being able to catch up and meeting this completion date. Diplomat Way and Eau Claire Drive drainage improvements. On this project, we're ready to go to construction. There's a resolution on tonight's agenda to accept the low bid from Byron E. Talbot, and that's for the base bid plus alternate one. So the base bid and alternate one will include the two stretches, I guess, adjacent to Eau Claire Drive. It's, I guess, the section back by the treatment plant, and then the section of Eau Claire closer to Talbot. Our street lighting permitting with the parish, we received a new batch of permits from Mr. Wallace. I have a list here of the different locations. It's two of them on Highway 307, a location on Highway 304, one, I guess, residence in Cutoff, and near the water tower on Highway 20 in Thibodaux. And our HMGP home elevations, we have currently one that we're working on, the 210 Napoleon Street, and we are waiting for the owner at that location to secure their portion of the funding. And that was it. Are there any questions?
Mr. LaFont?
On the street lighting, I know we paying $850 a pop to engineer, which I think is ridiculous. James, I thought about something the other day, and I wanted to call you, but while he's brought it up, the state says we have to pay engineering fee because we're invading their space by lighting up a street that's a state highway anyway, which I don't think we should be responsible for lighting up, but unfortunately we are. What happens if we take those lights, because we're just trying to light up part of the side of the road, what happens if we take them and not face them towards the road and just turn them towards the property? Will we still have to pay that $850 fee? Still gonna light up almost the same amount of area.
I guess it would
There.
go back to DOTD, and if, they're okay with that, and,
Because I know you can get a spotlight put on the pole and you don't have to go
Basic
through
act.
DOT.
right, and that, I may be wrong, I believe that becomes a private light, to where the owner is responsible for paying for the light.
Yeah, but if the parish could save us $850 just by beating the system,
Okay.
right?
Right. I
You the
understand.
road. If I could save $850 putting the light this way,
Right.
why would I charge the residents?
Well,
You don't want to hear that,
right, no, I understand.
right? But I
Okay.
got to be frugal with their money.
Right, no, I understand.
Actually, that's a service that Entergy does provide to residents. They can purchase their own light by facing it towards their homes.
Right, but I'm saying right now, on 3235 or LA 308 or LA 1, if we want to put a street light in the front of the street, we have to pay an engineering fee of $850 just to even get it to go through the system,
Correct.
which is crazy because we lighten up a street, we're not blinding anybody putting a street light. I'm just saying, just turn that light around, do we still have to pay that same fee? Because you're almost going to light up the same area. Yeah. Something to look into, James, we could look into that.
Mr. Otan.
Yeah, I just was wondering for a second, while you're up here answering other questions, if you could put back up the overall pump project where you had the whole parish? Just so I want to look at it for a second longer.
Sure.
You just passed it up.
Thank you.
This one here,
Mr. Bourgeois.
Based on Mr. LaFont's question, how many streetlights do you guys engineer a year, just out of curiosity? Rough number.
we're on a year, maybe 10 to 15, or I guess maybe last year, maybe 20
Okay.
with the parish.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions? Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any other engineers, architecture reports? All right, moving on, Section E, Parish President, Department Heads, Directors, or Manager reports, presentations, or updates. Mr. James Barnes, Director of Public Works.
Okay, this is some in-house pump station projects that we did this year. On the Layton pump station, you notice it installed the new fuel lines. I don't know how many of y'all are familiar with what happened up there. We had a bunch of buried lines, fuel lines that that busted, caused a tremendous fuel spill. So all the fuel lines has been replaced.
Can you get a little closer to your mic, please, sir?
Yes. So all the fuel lines has been replaced, and we did that in-house. Layton Pump Station number 2, we rebuilt the pump by parish employees. Layton Pump number 7, we replaced the gearbox.
Mr. James, could you get a little closer? We're having a hard time hearing you, if you don't mind, sir. Thank you.
Can you hear me any better now? All right, pump station projects in District 2. Midway. We pulled the pump, rebuilt it, and put it back in with all the parish employees. Movant number 1, manufactured, the pump was rebuilt and added a 2-inch longer drop on the pump to pull more water. The Zalman's pump station, replaced a big electric motor on it. Mike's pump station, it had a bad cylinder head, and we purchased and rebuilt the engine, purchased the parts, the mechanics rebuilt the engine in-house. Jack Bay Electric, repaired the discharge pipe. Sugar Ridge East pump station, and installed a larger intake pipe. Sugar Ridge East pump station, had to rebuild the pump on the same Sugar Ridge, but different times of the year. Both of the hydraulic motors on the pumps went out. We pulled them out and rebuilt them. Lewis tractor pump, just to let everybody know that's a tractor pump, and then this year in 17, we're gonna be coming with a new pump there, but we had to rebuild the old one to make it till we get the new one. The Remy tractor pump, we rebuilt it. District number 4, the Lafourche bypass, discharge pipe, buffed and repainted. 4 Point, replaced the gearbox. District 5, Texas Gulf Pump Station, replaced electric motor. Lake Lawn Pump Station.
Mr. Barnes, you're getting low again, partner.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. We installed a new fuel pump, new fuel tank, double wall fuel tank. Also, we repaired the bulkhead and replaced the pump shed. Butch Hill number 1, rebuilt the pump. Number 4 at Butch Hill, we rebuilt the pump. Butch Hill number 2, we purchased a new engine and installed it. Magnolia number 2, engine replaced. Cyprian, at the current station we have today, we had to replace the engine there. On the Al Robichaux pump station, installed a new engine. The engine that we replaced had been out for over 2 years. Company Canal pump station, we had to pull the pump for repairs, repaired it and installed it in-house. Power pump station, we installed a new 48-inch pump and engine. Edgar Guidry number 1, we rebuilt the pump. Lulavine number 1, rebuilt the pump. T-Boy pump station, had to replace the engine. District 8, Mobley pump station, new pump was purchased and installed.
Mr. Barnes, that's in District 9.
Okay. Got District 9 here, Serenade pump station, a new pump was purchased, installed. We rebuilt the pump shed, all the new pilings, new decking was replaced by our in-house employees. The pumps that was converted to automatic float systems in 2016, Movant 1 and 2, Pelche, Thoroughbred, 1 and 2, 4 Point, Raceland 1 of 12, number 3, Par, number 1. Pumps converted from belt to drive shaft, Alidor number 1, 30-inch pump, Butch Hill number 1, 36-inch. Pumps on the list to convert for 2017. It'll be Raceland 1 of 12, pump number 1. Raceland 1 of 12, pump number 2. Crest number 1. Home Place, Par number 3, Euless Alomar, and Clotilda number 2. Pump projects in District 2 for 2017. The LC pump station will be a complete pump package, will be going out for bids. Movant pump station 3, pump number 3 and 4. The duct bills are twisted. The water's bleeding back in on the system. But we're working with the contractor because it could be a possibility of them being warranted. It was installed the last 2 years, within the last 2 years. Lejeune, discharge pipe needs to be replaced. Rank, the discharge pipe needs to be replaced. Work on the foundation for the engine and building and rebuilding the pump. District number 4, projects for 17. Bayou Blue bypass, install new floats. District number 5, Lake Long, gonna purchase a new complete pump package, will be installed in a few weeks. Lower Pointishan will be installed, complete new pump package, going out for bids. Lake Drive, 36-inch pump being replaced and engine. Butch Hill, building needs to be replaced. Magnolia Pump Station, the building needs to be replaced. District number 6, natural gas number 3, which is in the back of Gaines. We're going to pull that 48-inch pump out and rebuild it. That's hot on the press right there to get that one done. District number 7, Edgar Guidry, purchase and install a complete bowl section, really just rebuilding the whole pump. Valentine, the same thing, we're going to be rebuilding the pump. Ravenwood Pump Station, the structure's going to have to be took down, and we've got to replace the pilings, and we can do all of that in-house. Clotilda number 3, purchase and install a complete bowl section resolution going before council for approval for quotes. Also, it's the 30-inch pump. It's going to be foundation is going to be rebuilt at Clotilda number 3. T-Boy 36-inch pump replace pump and discharge pipe. Lulevine number 1. We're going to rebuild the 24-inch pump. I'm going to turn it over to Jerome now for just a minute.
Jerome Danos, Lafourche Parish Government, 4876 Highway 1 Matthews. Back to street lighting real quick. Following the lead of Mr. Jim and Mr. James Barnes to install energy-saving public street lighting in parish-owned subdivisions, a project is underway to replace many conventional street lights with the new LED technology. Over the next 2 to 3 years, the parish will phase in the replacement of the older street lights with the new energy-efficient and cost-effective LED fixtures. The replacement will be gradual in all regions of the parish, north, central, and south. Looking at the slide, we have a model here. It illustrates the potential savings that we might realize with this project. Replacing the old fixtures being the conventional 100-watt high-pressure sodium fixtures with a compatible LED fixture, which will be a 52-watt LED. Our initial investment cost is going to be slightly higher. Our electricity costs will go down. As you can see, the lifespan of the new fixture is significantly higher than the old fixture. The old fixture life expectancy would be about, industry standard would be about 4 years and 7 months. The new fixture, 11 years and 5 months. So this is gonna make our cost to replace these lights go down. Repair and maintenance is gonna go down, and we can project a potential savings of about $500,000 over that 11-year lifespan of the new fixture. It can also be calculated that our investment will be returned at about 5-year mark. So we're moving forward with that. Any questions?
I got a question.
Go ahead, Mr. Lafont.
Hey, thanks for the great job you do. On the lights that we're replacing, the old lights, we paid for those? Or is that Energy's property?
No, those are parish-owned lights.
So are we going to be auctioning those off as surplus?
I don't know if we decided that yet. We probably keep a certain amount for inventory because we're not going to replace all of them.
Oh, that's
at one
right,
time.
so you can,
Right.
okay.
It's going to be a gradual phase in.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Right.
Mr. Bourgeois.
Yes, Mr. Barnes, great presentation. I appreciate all the efforts. You've done a lot of work on the pumps and all of that. Got one quick question, though. I didn't see Cyprien on the projects for 2017, and I'm guessing just because we had so many pumps in District 5, There wasn't enough room on the paper.
Yeah, we kind of squeezed you right there, but it is on the list.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Esposito.
Jerome, on the lighting, the more change to more energy efficient lighting, did we get a grant to do any of that work or no? Is it just covered by parish
It's covered by
dollars?
parish money right now. We don't have a grant at the moment.
James, on the pumpers, I see you have LC pump scheduled to be done this year. Do you know where you're putting it?
It's going to be kind of across the canal from where it's sitting at and down just a little bit.
So it will be replacing that tractor pump into that swamp-like area?
Yes.
Okay. Did anyone get with the resident on, does he know where it's going, or?
We know about where it's going, yes. And the resident across the ditch has pretty much told us what fits us up.
Okay,
We don't want to get it too far back in the swamp that we can't get fuel to it.
okay. I see that you're putting the automatic floats, the automatic floats that you put in 2016. Is that the goal for all of the pumps? And how does that change, if at all, us needing pumpers?
Yes, well, you still need a pumper. The automatic float system, in case you get a big downpour, it'll kick the pump on, you know, if somebody's running a little bit late getting there. And if the water in the canal gets a little bit lower, it'll cut it off. But yes, it still calls for a pumper's attention.
So the goal is to put that on all of our pumps, I hope?
Yes,
I hope?
eventually,
Okay.
yes.
And that was it.
Mr. Grow.
I was going to ask, but Mr. Barber's not here, about grants or any reimbursements for going energy efficient. But James, I was thinking you might have had a broken 3 on your computer until sort of 36-inch pumps later on in the deal. On one of your first slides with District 1 and 2, I have some of Layton, okay?
Yes.
And in all the reports that we've been seeing throughout the year, that pumps number 4 and 5 have been having problems since 2005.
Correct.
And, you know, not running due to 4 bolts only holding the pumps together, and there were some other issues. I know estimates were submitted for the 2017 budget to finally fix these 2 pumps. Are we going to be able to do that?
Yes, that's in the grant, and that's the planners and them handling that. That's what that grant is for, to clean out the canals going to the pump station and install 1 new complete pump and package, and repair the duct bills that's on the existing pumps where we can use all of them.
So that'll fix the issue that's been going on since 2005.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Lorraine.
Yeah, I look at all these figures, and nothing in Lafourche district, he doesn't have any pumps. He has pumps, but the levy district takes over. The only reason why you did 2 pumps in my district is because it's outside the levy system.
Correct.
I think it's time that this parish wakes up and gets with that North Lafourche levy district, and they're considered a drainage and levy district. South Lafourche spent $2 million of parts last year. You know what the parish gave them? Zip. $2 million. We do our own. We have our own tax. They also have a levy tax over here, sales tax and a property tax. It's time that the North Lafourche levy, and I hope they listen, starts participating with some of you guys. I mean, we got to sit here and look at all this, and that's fine and dandy. But nobody pays our bills. Not at all. Yet, all kind of thousands of dollars are being spent. And I'm not against it. I'm for it. The only thing that breaks my heart and that teases me off is the North Lafourche levy district needs to come forward and participate. It seems like it's the parish that does all the work, and they get all the credit. Every time you look at the newspaper, they claim they're doing something. Now, I'm sure they're doing something, but they could be doing a lot more. I mean, they got a sweetheart deal. We furnish them employees, we furnish them equipment, we furnish them just about everything you can do. And where are we? I've been asking for a whole year to get a bill paid by South Lafourche Levy District for $164,000. Hopefully it's on the next agenda. And I would hope that y'all would consider that, because, boy, are y'all pulling our eyes out, man. big time. I'm just, nothing against you, I'm gonna help you, I'm gonna do whatever I can. But we want our fair share. How would you like that if I bring the $2 million bill up here and say, here, you pay for it? I don't think the parish would like that at all. But don't forget, every time something breaks at South Lafourche, we got 3 pumps on each side. And we're working on another project in his area that may eventually put a pump through the drainage district. And that's all we got. But we don't get no bills. All I hear is we pay the fuel. But who pays the rest of the fuel for the parish? The parish. So don't come here with, we pay the fuel, because it's paid for everybody else. It's just a point I'm trying to make, and I hope the North Lafourche Levy District wakes up and does something, and don't participate and give us a pump and say that it's for you, the parish. It's for them too. Look at that state statute and what it says. But it's time we do something. And I'm tired of talking about it. We need some action. And we need something done, and y'all need to put your foot down to get it done, maybe. Okay?
Mr. Otan.
Yes, sir. Yeah, right now we're just on the questions, right? So I won't make any general comments till next, but James, just any update on the Valentine Pontoon Bridge? I did get 2 calls in the last couple of weeks, and everyone, when I tell them that, it's kind of, it looks like it's going to be an extended lead time before there's any repairs. They say, well, they see a little red car all the time. So do we still pay employees even when it's set up, if it's not going to be, running for a long period of time? And just to answer for the public. No, sir. We moved the bridge tenders to another bridge, and I got to get with Mr. Jimmy and Reggie to see how far we want to carry this repair. See how much it's going to cost us. I've got some rough numbers already. I just need to get with them and talk to them about it.
Okay, so right now there shouldn't be any vehicles parked on the buy side by the little bridge?
Not unless they just coming by to check something every now and then.
Somebody's been there every day, all day for the last couple of weeks. Just FYI. I mean, I know it's on Valentine property. It's actually on private property, so someone that shouldn't be there, maybe we need to follow up.
We'll follow up.
Mr. Melvin.
Yes, Mr. James, I appreciate, what y'all been doing for us. I had a question. On Thoroughbred, I noticed residents called me back there a few times, and the screen is pretty deplorable. I was wondering, I'm going to email you about it. Maybe we'll have a look at it, because the pump is only as good as the water they can get to it without a tree or a branch or something bad. And I could tell it has a Band-Aid on it from some metal mesh being placed on top of some of these boards, but some of them are starting to come loose, and it's really kind of shoddy. So I'd hate for something tragic to happen there. So we'd like to take a look at that. And also, do you know a timeline on when we're getting those other engines for Cyprian? Because even though it's in his district, it drains most of mine in that area.
Y'all have already approved the low bidder. Just waiting on the resolution to get signed. And we'll be sending out the purchase order to get the pumps. And it'll take them 5 or 6 months to get that, but we'll be working on some of the other station meanwhile.
Okay, because I know currently under the current EPA emission standards, which the new president may change, some of the prices of these engines could go to the moon with modifications and everything that needs to be done to them, from what I'm told. So.
Oh, you correct. It could jump 200,000.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Mr. James, I want to commend you and your staff. You guys are doing a lot of in-house work that I think that go above and beyond your job descriptions. And I commend you for that, because you're saving us a lot of money by doing it in-house. So thank you very much. All right, so that was Section E, Parish President, Department Heads reports. We're going to go back, take a step back to Section C, presentations and/or updates. Thank you. Mr. Harris Griffin, are you prepared, sir, to give your presentation now? Oh, okay.
Hey.
Name's Harris Griffin, Chairman of Lafourche Parish Fire Protection District Number 9. Main thing that I want to report that I'm not going to have to talk about anymore is we have finally finished our closing in of our station and getting to where we can train there, and when you need to use the bathroom, you don't have to leave anymore. So we finally got all our stuff lined up on that. Then since we've gotten it going this last year, it did take us a little bit of time. There were some things that when we chose like our stove for the station, we didn't realize what it would do because of all the inspections you got now, and it did run us over a little bit more than what I'd have liked to. I didn't like what it cost us already, but when the fire marshal came in, we had to have a different stove top for it because of the amount of gas or BTUs that the stove would put off. So we were kind of had to make a decision on that to see where we were gonna go with it, having bought the stove already. But it did come out nice. It has been utilized actually before it was completed. They were already using it for a lot of trainings. We've even had some of our people qualify as firefighter ones this year, and they spent a lot of time there. So towards the end of the year, well, midway till the end, they just went and tested not too long ago at the end of the year, and we had actually some ladies that qualified as firefighter ones that we had in our department. So it has been well used. We got people that stay there a lot more now as far as doing things there, spending more time there. There is air conditioning in it, so when on those hot days when it was like a sweat box in there, it's not quite so bad anymore. We do have an area that we were able to spend time there. And the training, we've done some CPR training and all that we had never done, not really getting done before. And if we did, we had to go somewhere else to do it because of the heat and all that we would be exposed to. So again, a lot of things that was done there. At this time, it's like we're going to have to be looking for replacing our trucks. That's going to be coming up. It's probably take us a couple of years to put that money together, but hopefully within the next few years we can maybe be looking at that also, like getting us a new truck in our station. I know it's going to be something new that we're looking at with the new rating schedules they got coming out. That's been talked about. I don't know how that's going to go and where it's going to go, but I just hear talk. But anyway, that was our main concentration as far as the time that we had to spend on this year was our station and trying to get it completed out. I know I've talked about this about a few years, so I'm glad I don't have to talk about it no more. But the only thing we got to deal with now is there's a couple of leaks in our roof that's in the bay that we're going to get somebody to come in and look at, but that's pretty much it. Any questions?
No, sir. Thank you very much. Mr. Daniel, you're on? Okay, go ahead, Mr. Lorraine.
Yeah, Harris, I want to thank y'all for your service. I know y'all do a great job. And let me ask you a question real quick. On your millage collection this year, is it as good as last year, or did it go up a little bit?
No, it was.
It's down?
We kept it the same, and
about the same?
And it dropped. We actually lost.
It dropped?
Yeah. We lost. I just got the check. We sent them our old address, and I had to go get it over there, and it was lower.
But it didn't drop 50%.
Oh, no.
Just a little bit.
No, I would say about 1/5, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully that could be turned around. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman, I never really know when to do this because do I have to be on the agenda to be able to give a report or an update?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I normally cover that either in public comments or whenever it comes up for funding thing.
Right. Yeah,
Okay,
are you going to be here
Yeah.
when the item comes up? Okay, we'll let you have the floor at that time. All right, item number 8, Miss Mary Patricia Ray, Top Drawer Strategies LLC, has arrived. Please state your name and address for the record, ma'am.
Mary Patricia Ray, 328 East Drive, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, 70806. I'll be really brief. I know you guys have a lot of business on your agenda. I just wanted to come and visit with you prior to the beginning of what is likely to be a special legislative session beginning on February 13th and ending on February 26th, and our regular session, which starts on April 10th and runs through June. And one thing I want to make sure you're aware of is our state budget issues, which you've been hearing a lot about. In the current fiscal year, which ends in July, we still have a $304 million deficit to address. We can only spread that deficit solution over a few months, so there's really not enough time to collect taxes to make up the difference. The difference has to come through cuts. And that's why we're likely to have a special session. The legislature and the governor are only authorized to make cuts to certain parts of the state budget without a legislative session. For instance, they can't use the rainy day fund without a legislative session. There have been some proposals put forth in terms of what the cuts should look like. What I want to make sure you're aware of is that at this point in time, the call for the special session, which it will be set by the governor, is not likely to include anything that would impact your revenue streams, because it's going to be cuts only and not anything that's going to impact tax structure. That said, I've also been monitoring 2 task forces that have been meeting for the last year, one headed by Senator Allan, and both of them deal with the inventory tax structure and the offshore vessel tax structure. Obviously, that offshore vessel tax structure, very important to Lafourche specifically. And those task forces have no authority to change anything, but they will be making recommendations to the legislature about what to do during the regular legislative session when issues like changing that structure of who collects the tax, who pays the credit, could be affected. We saw some bills that tried to affect that situation last year. They did not pass. The outlook and the will to change that is not good, because whenever you're dealing with the inventory tax, a lot of business and industry folks get nervous about changing that situation. What I'm on the lookout for this year is legislation that would impact only the offshore vessel tax. I think that has a lot more danger to it, in that there's less incentive for someone in Shreveport, a legislator in Shreveport, for instance, to care about how changing the inventory, or how changing the offshore vessel tax credit structure would impact Lafourche Parish. And if it helps the state budget, they're looking for all the solutions they can find. So at this time, I don't see a specific threat coming to that, but I've been meeting with your legislative delegation and legislators whose districts overlap with Terrebonne Parish as well over the past couple weeks to make sure they're educated so that they can educate their colleagues on why that setup is so important to you. Real briefly, I wanted to talk to you about your capital outlay situation. You have some 15 projects that are in Lafourche Parish. Some are, Lafourche Parish government, some are Nichols, some are a Port Commission project, a levy district project, that are in priority 5 non-cash as approved by the Bond Commission during their last meeting. That has some good news and some bad news. The good news is you're still ahead in the line, ahead of any new projects that are being applied for those things. It means you're pretty much guaranteed a spot in the House Bill 2 in the capital outlay bill for the next regular legislative session, which is, a step towards getting your money bonded. The longer that those projects, some of them have been in priority 5 for a couple years, so even though that's a downer, it's also an upper, because the longer they're in that priority 5 non-cash, the farther ahead they are in line. So I'm going to be meeting with the parish president and with your legislative delegation soon as a group to go over priorities of things that are already in the pipeline. I think we need to do a little bit, I need to do a little bit more work in getting your legislators to ask for the projects that are high priority for you. The last thing that I have for you, because I promised to be brief, is there are at least 4, maybe 5 projects in capital outlay that are slated for priority 1 that are within Lafourche Parish. Those 5 projects were on the bond sale list at the last meeting, meaning they're about to sell the bonds to fund the projects, but they delayed all 40 projects that were listed on the priority 1 list until next month, hoping that their bond capacity will increase and or to get a better picture of what their bond capacity will be. So in the next year, so I expect those to go through hopefully next month. There's one at Nichols State, one for the South Lafourche Levee District, another for renovation at Nichols, and then a Highway 20 widening project at DOTD. And so, that's a good $6-7 million in projects that are in priority 1 coming to Lafourche soon. And I hope to continue that trend and hopefully grow it upward. That said, the outlook for capital outlay next year is not good. It wasn't good this year. It's still not good next year. The bonding capacity is slated to go down by about $90 million for next year. So we're down to like $230 million to spread out over 12 months of bond sales. That's a third of what we used to sell every year. And so it makes things more competitive. That's why I want to get started with your legislators early and hopefully get some consensus around some projects that are really a priority so that those are the ones we can focus on asking for, and making sure that our legislators are also asking for those projects and not just, their pet projects, the ones they might like. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Ms. Esposito.
Capital outlay projects, I know the parish, I know you're talking about overall the projects that are in from Lafourche, meaning Nichols or the port, but the projects submitted by Mr. Jimmy's office, I know some were submitted by his office, some were submitted on behalf of the parish. Are you clear with which ones Mr. Jimmy thinks are priority 1 or where they rank in his level of importance yet?
Yeah, there are a handful of these projects at large that are submitted by the parish. And Mr. Jimmy and I are in communication about which ones of those are high priority for him and how we can make sure that they're a high priority for our legislators as well. Because there's a lot of competition here among other partner entities. And I think one thing we should not lose sight of is that if the South Lafourche Levee District gets $13 million to do flood protection, that's a benefit to the taxpayers of Lafourche. And our job, I think, is to convince the legislature that if they feel like they only have 2 really big asks, to make of the governor and of the Division of Administration, that if a canal pump station is more important and it's a much smaller project, we have to convince the legislators that represent you that there's a good reason to pass up $13 million for maybe $1 million to do a pump station. And so that's tricky, and so they're not always asking for those things because they'd rather get the big dollars in. And so that's part of the conversation that I want to have with them ahead of the session this year, is that what they need to do is ask for a little bit more than what they need in the other projects, and then later make amendments to take some off and cover some of these other priorities if they're uncomfortable asking for both.
What is priority, out of the 7 or 8 projects submitted by the parish, which one is priority 1?
Well, I would need to discuss that again with the parish president ahead of next session, so we can go over.
Mr. Jimmy, do you know which project is P1? I was just curious to see which one is being addressed first.
Well, a lot of the ones under the parish government are, like I said, are smaller projects. And there are some new applications that I believe have been submitted.
Yeah, I'm just curious with what ended up being the priority 1, because I know you have to put it has to be submitted in level of importance. So I'm just curious.
So no, it's actually submitted all at the same level. They're all submitted with the same level of ask when we submit the applications. And there's
Well, you do have
5.
to do a 1 or 2 or 3. It has to be listed in order of importance, though, right?
No, there's 5 levels of priority inside the capital outlay bill and inside the bond commission. They set those priorities, not
No, I'm
us.
talking about when the parish submits all of their capital outlay requests. I'm not talking about P1 through P5
No,
as far as the
you don't mark this one's more important than this one. That's something that's communicated through the legislative process and through communications with the Division of Administration. So, there's no opportunity on those
I thought
applications.
that was part of the application.
To my knowledge, there's no space for Mr. Jimmy to say, I have 5 projects and this is the most important one to me on the application itself.
Well, I just know it has to be listed when you send for letters of support from your legislators. You have to list priority 1, priority 2, this is top priority, or 1 through whatever.
Right, and I certainly
I know you request support in that way, and your legislator has to, know
Right,
which
so
project to.
I solicit those letters of support from legislators, and what I do is I inform them, this is a top priority for Lafourche Parish, and it's currently in priority 2. I would like for you to request it to be moved to priority 1, because those priority levels are a different set of language
No,
that's about funding.
I'm not talking about the funding priority levels, the 1 through 5. I'm talking about when the list of projects are submitted in capital outlay. I'm talking about which one the parish puts as its top. If Mr. Jimmy said, I want
So
this project done.
like I was saying, to the best of my knowledge, there's no space on the application itself to say, this is the most important application to Lafourche Parish. That's something that's communicated after the applications are submitted.
Any further questions? Mr. Lorraine?
Yeah, my question to you would be, when you came to us last year before the other session, and you said this project was a number 1 and it was a number 2, does that get turned in as of that?
So if I'm remembering correctly, what I visited with you last year was about which of your projects were in which priority inside the capital outlay bill. So some of those priority 1 projects went through the legislative process and went before the bond commission.
Okay.
Most of them are the ones that I'm referring to that the vote on whether to sell the bonds was delayed for this current month, and they will take a vote next month to sell the bonds to fund those projects.
Because we already had a list of some projects that were classified as a 1.
Right.
I had
And
one
just
that was
because
classified as
they're-
a 1 and a 2.
And just because they're classified as a 1 in
No,
the
it doesn't mean
bill,
you're going to get it, but you got a
Right.
better shot.
Right.
It's a lot better than being classified as a 5.
it sure is.
Because I could remember when Mr. Chabert was there, I'm talking about the old Mr. Leonard, the first Chabert. Started at a 5, next year was a 4, then a 3, then a 2, then a 1. That's usually how it works.
Well, that's
But
back
then
when
it
they were
depends on
bonding.
who you know.
So, yes and no. Back then, they were bonding about $600 million worth a year. So they were selling $600 million worth of bonds to cover some $1 billion worth of capital outlay. Now we're down to selling $210 million worth of bonds to cover some $500, $700 million worth of projects.
But
So the
usually,
availability is not the same, and what I would say is that I think there was an expectation years ago, maybe even as recently as 3 years ago, that if you spent 1 year in priority 5 non-cash, that you would be able to move up into priority 1 the next year. And across the board, that's just not how it's working out anymore.
Yeah,
And
well,
until our revenue stream increases, there won't be a bonding capacity.
I understand that. So back in them days, they had a little bit more revenue.
Yeah.
So when you hit that 1, that was all considered done. Now, when you hit a 1, you start praying.
When you hit a 1, you start really trying to work the relationships you have to make your 1 better than somebody
Okay.
else's 1.
You answered my question. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mr. LaFont?
Oh, so you have a list of the priorities turned in from Lafourche Parish?
I have a full list of the applications that have been submitted by Lafourche Parish, and I also have a full list of all those that have gone before the bond commission. All of our projects made it, with the exception of 1, made it into the bill last year. They have not all gone before the bond commission for a vote, I think with the exception of 2. So they either made it into priority 1 and are awaiting a vote next month, or they're in priority 5 non-cash, which keeps us in line to keep them all moving forward.
All right, can we get a copy of that list, please, from you? If you don't
Yeah,
mind?
absolutely. It's actually in, I'll pull it and send it to Ms. Caroline so we can, or whoever I
We got
need
an
to.
old one.
But it's actually available to you anytime at the Division of Administration's website as well, so I'll pull it from there for you.
My next question is, are you still representing Terrebonne Parish also?
Yes, sir.
All right, so Terrebonne Parish got a ton of money last night, a load of projects, and we got just a little.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to ask you if you can work just a little bit harder for Lafourche Parish. We appreciate it because it seems that a lot of projects, and I don't know if that had something to do with you or it had something to do with their legislators working a little bit harder.
Well,
And
I would
can
ask
almost
you,
answer it's
I
probably
would
the
ask
legislators.
you with respect, which projects you're referring to in Terrebonne Parish.
The list y'all came with last year, and Doug presented a list, and they had seemed to have a lot more money. They got projects done than we did, so.
Well, and I would just want to make sure that our conversations are based on what really happened. And so the Terrebonne projects you're referring to, one of them is a multi-parish project, actually 6 of them in Terrebonne were multi-parish projects, where Lafourche is also listed as one of the parishes.
All right.
They also had 7 projects that were listed in Priority 5 for 4 years last year that were moved forward. And so I guess the underlying assumption in your question with respect is that I worked harder for Terrebonne Parish. And so I would like to just address that assumption head on as totally incorrect. There were some things going for those projects in Terrebonne that made them a little bit easier to work through the system last year. They also had a lot more money in the pipeline. So there was a bigger amount of money on the table for Terrebonne Parish because of some of those major multi-parish projects that are part of Morganza to the Gulf. And we were very lucky that the governor was able to fund 3 of those, which all included Lafourche Parish as one of the 6 parishes
Right.
that was listed.
No, and if you heard the whole statement, I said, or I understand it's probably the legislators working a little harder also.
Yeah, well,
I know
and
they got more representation than us.
Well, a little bit, but I mean, the question was, would I work harder for Lafourche? And I guess the answer is that I always strive to do better each year, but I want to staunchly defend against an assumption that I worked harder for Terrebonne Parish than Lafourche Parish.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any more questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Get a motion to move back, fast forward to section F. Mr. Melvin, second by Mr. Bourgeois. Moving right along. Questions for the administration, session 1. Any questions? Mr.
Can I ask
Lorraine.
real quick, just one, talking about James, the CPF pumps, were they ordered yet, or where we at with that, James?
I was doing some checking on that this afternoon. We're waiting on the resolution to be signed or moved forward. I just got to track down where it's setting at. But we need to move forward. Time is running.
I think the problem I think you're facing is if there's a time deal here with some of this federal regulations.
It is.
And if we get nailed with that, then you're talking about a lot more money.
600,000 just on them 3 pumps.
So can we put a little speed on it?
Working on it.
We'll make James happy and the rest of them and even Butch.
But it has been approved by council.
Before we move along, I also have a question for the administration. I understand that the funding and the plans are in place for a dock for like pirogues and kayaks under the Highway 90 overpass right here in Raceland. Where do we stand with that project? If it's funded, how soon can we get that kicked off? Yes, sir. Whoever.
We didn't do anything on it yet. We brought it up at the meeting and said, I thought it was a great idea, but you have to work that through the council and see if we have the funding for it, and we're ready to go. We can do this in-house. A lot of it can be done in-house. Maybe not all of it, but most of it can.
Mr. Otan.
Yeah, Reggie, I can get Jeff to send you all an update. Jeff with planning. Jeff Luttenberger, Jeff.
So is that an internal funding project? I thought it was
It's a master
grant.
plan that he's working on. Yeah, it's a master plan that he's working on, but I'll get Jeff to give you all an update.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
It's a federal grant, I believe.
Right.
Or
So
state
the
grant.
funding's in place.
Yes,
I'm just
funding
wondering
should
what
be
the
there.
holdup
No,
is.
the
I don't wanna-
roadblock was the state. The state was a roadblock. They had to grant us permission because it's their property. And where we stand today is that they said we couldn't put it underneath the overpass. It has to be X amount of distance away from the overpass for liability purposes. So now we've gone over that hurdle. So now we can start moving forward. So that's going to happen, Corey, hopefully soon.
Outstanding. All right, moving right along, Section G, council reports, presentations, updates, and questions. Session 1, I understand Mr. Jones would like a DA opinion read. Oh, an AG opinion. Yeah. Okay, Ms. Carleen, please.
This opinion is in response to Resolution 16-223 that the council passed last year. And Mrs. Carbonet, one of the assistant AGs, did apologize for such a long time before she sent through the opinion, but Baton Rouge flooded, and it was one thing after another. So here we go. Dear Ms. Babin, our office received your request for an opinion regarding whether the full-time director of the Lafourche Parish Department of Finance may serve as the full-time director of the Lafourche Parish Department of Human Resources. The provisions of the dual office holding and employment law found at Louisiana Revised Statute 4261 et seq. govern questions concerning the ability to hold 2 or more offices and/or positions simultaneously. Classifying the correct nature of the positions held is essential for the purposes of applying the dual office holding provisions. Lafourche Parish is a local governmental subdivision operating under a home rule charter under the authority of Louisiana Constitution, Article 6, subsection 5-1. The charter provides for a president-council form of government. The president, who is a member of the council, is elected at large. The Department of Finance is part of the executive branch of the parish. The position of Director of Finance is established by the charter and ordinances of the parish. The Director of Finance, who is full-time, is appointed by the president. Because the position of Director of Finance is specifically established by the charter and ordinances of the parish, and she is appointed by the president, the Director of Finance holds a full-time appointive office for the purposes of dual office holding laws. The Department of Human Resources is a part of the executive branch of the parish. The position of Director of Human Resources is established by ordinances of the parish. The Director of Human Resources, who is full-time, is appointed by the president. Because the position of Director of Human Resources is specifically established by ordinances of the parish, and she is appointed by the president, the Director of Human Resources holds a full-time appointive office for the purposes of the dual office holding laws. The most applicable provision of the dual office holding and dual employment law is Louisiana Revised Statute 42:63E, which provides in pertinent part, no person holding a full-time appointive office or full-time employment in the government of this state or of a political subdivision thereof shall at the same time hold another full-time appointive office or full-time employment in the government of the state of Louisiana, in the government of a political subdivision thereof, or in a combination of these. Louisiana Revised Statute 42:63E prohibits holding 2 full-time appointive offices in the government of a political subdivision. The Director of Finance, the Director of the Department of Finance is prohibited by law from serving as the Director of the Human Resources Department because both positions are full-time appointive offices. Based on the applicable provisions of law and the information you provided, it is the opinion of this office that the provisions of the dual office holding and dual employment law prohibit the full-time director of the Lafourche Parish Department of Finance from serving as the full-time director of the Lafourche Parish Department of Human Resources. Please note that our expressed opinion is limited to an examination of the state law relating to dual office holding and dual employment. Further, it does not address the potential applicability of the provisions of the Louisiana Code of Governmental Ethics. Louisiana Revised Statute 42:1111 et seq. Advising rulings addressing questions under the ethics codes are within the jurisdiction of the Louisiana State Board of Ethics. The board may be contacted at the following address: P.O. Box 4388, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We hope that this opinion adequately addresses the legal issues you have raised. If our office can be of any further assistance, please do not hesitate to contact us.
Thank you, Ms. Carleen.
You're welcome.
Mr. Otan.
Yeah, for council reports, I just wanted to thank Councilman Daniel Lorraine as well as Drainage District Number 1 and their chairman, Mr. Albert Guidry, in assistance to Lafourche Parish government in that they're going to be funding for the parish a 20-foot boom tractor So we certainly are appreciative of that, and I thank Councilman Lorraine for helping to push that along. Also, I'd like to report, yeah, I can't go to a meeting without seeing Daniel at it, so I tell you, he attends a lot of meetings. But with that said, I will say this, Daniel, with respect to the levy district, North Lafourche levy district, it is an encouraging time to be at those meetings because they have money now. They're starting to get cash flow since they got that, they were able to get that tax approved. So there's a lot of projects they have in the pipeline and they're building. So it's looking really promising for us. And as somebody that's kind of situated right in the middle and that's being impacted by the South Lafourche, basically our water has come up as South Lafourche has improved their system. So I certainly hope that they do push along as well, and that's why I attend those meetings. So I'm hoping that we do get a lot of things rolling here shortly. Last thing that I want to say is I just wanted to thank the administration. I know I have two really bad areas that I have a lot of drainage issues, and I get a lot of calls about the pump operators. I know we're back to the pump operators, and I know that we finally addressed the issue down at the T-Bois pump station, which has been a constant problem for me, where the residents call me on a regular basis. They had this gentleman's house. He's out on a shrimp boat. For an hour, it's raining. So I'm glad. I do thank the administration for moving forward and addressing that. So I just have now one other drainage area. And this particular drainage area is coupled with the fact that this is the one I'm constantly talking about, the La Rose flood wall, South Lafourche levee. So the water's coming up. We've built a flood wall. So, you know, we talked again tonight about phase 2 on the drainage improvements at T-Bois. So things are looking really good. I know, you know, if any of those residents are watching this, we have a lot of good things going on. And that's on 308 Lower Side La Rose. So hopefully we'll get some things going there quick. Thanks.
Mr. LaFont.
Yeah, I just want to make a couple brief national announcements, maybe. It was broadcasted yesterday that Congressman Garrett Graves was appointed and named chairman of the Water Resource Subcommittee, which oversees water resources development, and they oversee basically the Corps of Engineers and the EPA and other water associations. So that was big for Louisiana, big for the South. And he's a big advocate of stop studying and let's work. So that's awesome for Garrett Graves. Also, Steve Scalise, Representative Steve Scalise, being the majority whip, has been getting to meet with the president quite often, and looks like we might get some regulations dropped on drilling permitting, so that'll help out. And also, it was awesome today to see that the president signed to begin with the big pipelines coming south. So that was promising. So just wanted to pass that on.
Thank you. Mr. Lorraine.
Yeah, I want to thank Orman for those kind words, but I wasn't trying to be real hard on North Lafourche Levee District. It's just that I get upset when I see what's going on, and maybe they might come around. Hopefully they will. Also, we need to remind the council that the drainage district also bought 2 pickup trucks, one for Region C and one for Region D, and they also bought that bush hog for the town of Lockport, and they've helped out Golometa a little bit, but now things are going to start getting a little tighter, so don't show up too often. Thank you.
I'm kind of sensing a bromance going on here. I'm glad we're working together. That means a lot, goes a long way. Any other reports from council members? All right, moving right along. Section H, Legal Advisor Report. Any? Negative. Moving right along. Section I, Public wishing to address the council. There are none. There is none. Section J, Ordinances for discussion and ratification. None. Section K, Public hearing and ordinances for ratification.
I move.
Moved by Mr. LaFont, second by Mr. Melvin. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Item number 10 passes 9-0.
I need to defer that for 2 more meetings, please. We're still discussing that.
You want to defer number 10?
2 more meetings, Ms. Carleen, if you can give us a date.
It'll be the first meeting in March. Let me check. Because we won't have that second meeting in February. March 14th.
March 14th. All right, moving right along. Item number 11, ordinance requesting no dumping of trash, $500 fine, signs be posted at the following. First hard curve at Bayou Blue Bypass. Number 2, Bayou Blue Bypass and South Water Plant Road. Number 3, South Water Plant Road and Martinez Road. And number 4, any other place where dumping is being done within 1,000 feet of any of the areas listed in this ordinance. Bayou Blue, Louisiana, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, providing for and placing a no dumping of trash, $500 signs, and providing for penalties and violations thereof. This is moved by Mr. Bourgeois. And a second by Mr. Lafont. Any discussion from the public? One time, 2, 3. Any discussion from the council? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Pass 9-0.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Before we go to the next one, this morning on my way to work, I witnessed somebody dumping, but I'm not sure if it was Lafourche Parish or Terrebonne Parish. I know where the parish line's supposed to be. It's in Lafourche, but it's the sign's a little different. It's on the Burglar Rose Highway, just towards home on the other side of the Burglar Rose Park, the Grombois Park. So I actually went back and they scattered as soon as I got there. I took the license plate. Can we look up and see who I'd have to report it to, either Terrebonne or Lafourche? If y'all don't mind, I got a license plate number, picture of the truck, everything, so that would help out. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lafont. Item number 12, ordinance approving the attached servitude agreement between Allen Company Sapie LLC, represented by Gene Culver, Dragon Manager Member, and Lafourche Parish Council, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement. Moved by Mr. Otan. Second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion from the public? One time, 2 times, 3 times. Being none, any discussion from the council? All in favor of this ordinance? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 13, ordinance providing a variance from the Lafourche Parish Subdivision Regulations, Chapter 22, Article 6, Division 3, Road, Section 22-408F, from having to install the cross streets in the re-subdivision of land owned by Kent Bouvier as recommended by the Lafourche Parish Planning Commission at their December 1st, 2016 meeting. Moved by Mr. Melvin. Second by Mr. Lorraine. Any comment from the public? Once, twice, 3 times. Mr. Otan, discussion.
Yes, one of the platforms I ran on was, no variances. It should be fair. Laws need to be fair for everybody. And in this particular instance, I did make an inquiry because I'm not a fan of variances, and I don't think we should play favoritism. So I did get an explanation by the administration on why that was. And my understanding is that it's impossible for there to ever be development adjacent to this property. Can someone just confirm that? That's what I was told. That's what was explained to me, that there is no way, it's absolutely impossible for this development to ever be able to be done adjacent to this property.
Well, first of all, you can't, because there's a Lafourche Canal passes there. And number 2, in other words, it would be a very dangerous part for the parish if somebody would go there. And if we make a cross street and enter into the canal, I think we'd be at a liability. So there's no reason for him to put a cross street.
Thank you, Mr. Jimmy. I think that makes it crystal clear to the public.
Mr. Lorraine.
I don't know how y'all are familiar, but it would be the same thing like the Carte Blanche connection, where his area is at, where you have the main road passing. So they didn't develop the cross streets because it wasn't really going anywhere. And why develop the cross streets when you're coming off the main road? And by doing that, if you force them to do that, then that's 4 or 5 less lots that they'd be able to sell. So it'd be the same thing like the Carte Blanche, right? Yes, it is.
No. It wouldn't be the same. Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Lafont.
It wouldn't be the same thing because on the Carte Blanche connection, there's adjacent property to those 2 properties on each side that they can actually start another subdivision. Where he's saying is right here is he can't because there's a canal.
Yeah.
So that's the difference.
But also the Planning Commission recommended the variance.
All right, any more discussion? Move it to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Item 14, ordinance approving the act of donation between Lafourche Parish Government and Drainage District Number 1 for the donation of two 2017 Chevrolet 2500 HD Crew Cab 4x4 short bed trucks, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Lorraine. Second. Man, that was almost unanimous. Second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion from the public? One time, two times, three times? None? From the council? Move it to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Item 15, ordinance providing for a 2017 supplemental appropriation 17-001 within the 2017 operations and maintenance budget to cover the additional costs associated with courthouse security agreement, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transactions as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Moved by Mr. Groh. Second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any public comments, discussion? One time, two times, three times? Council? Move to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Item number 16, ordinance providing for a 2017 supplemental appropriation 17-002 within the 2017 operation and maintenance budget and capital budgets to correct budgetary items that were done during the process of amending the proposed budget for 2017, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transactions as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Moved by Ms. Spacito and Mr. Otam. Second by Mr. Jones. Any public comment? One time, two times, three times? Council? Any opposed? Any comment, first of all? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0, man. Can I have a motion to close public hearing? Mr. Bourgeois, second by Mr. Lafont. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. We'll pass it over, Section L, to Ms. Spacito, proposed ordinances.
Number 17, proposed ordinance establishing that all contracts shall go through the bid process, including professional services contract, moved by Councilman Jones. Number 18, proposed ordinance approving an act of donation between Lafourche Parish Government and Drainage District Number 1 for the donation of one John Deere 6110M cab tractor and one Tiger Model BB 2230S Stow Mid-Mount Hydraulic Rotary Boom Mower, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Lorraine. Number 19, proposed ordinance providing for a 2016 supplemental appropriation 16-029 within the 2016 operation and maintenance budget for the project concrete improvements, Terrio Boat Launch 14001, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transaction as provided by for Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Can someone move for me? Who was it? Moved by Councilman Groh. Number 20, proposed ordinance requesting no dumping of trash, $500 fine, signs be posted at all pump stations in the parish of Lafourche, state of Louisiana, providing for the placement of no dumping of trash, $500 fine, signs, and providing for penalties for the violations thereof. Moved by Mr. Lorraine. Number 21, proposed ordinance providing for a 2017 supplemental appropriation 17-003 with the 2017 capital outlay budget to fund the removal of abandoned derelict vessels in the waterways of Lafourche Parish, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transaction as provided by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Moved by Mr. Otan. Oh.
Mr. Jones?
Moved by Mr. Jones. And number 22's been pulled.
All right, thank you. Section M, resolutions. Number 23, resolution.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to defer from the, we have some engineer waiting to, been sitting here. If we can defer to item number 34, please.
Second by Mr. Lorraine. All right, so item number 34, resolution approving a contract between Lafourche Parish Government and Pisciola and Associates, Inc. for engineering services for the project entitled Road Improvements, Road Sale Taxes, District Number 2, Phase 4L, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said contract and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Lorraine.
Mr. Chairman, before we do that, we have to take a vote to defer from the, deviate.
To deviate, okay.
Sorry.
So it was moved by Mr. LaFawn, second by Mr. Lorraine. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
All right.
Passes.
So now,
Do I have to read this again?
No, you don't have to.
All right. It's already seconded.
I second
Okay.
for discussion.
So any discussion?
Yeah, I just want to find out, and I spoke to Mr. Pisciola before the meeting. He came up and he was explaining a couple of things to me. When I look at the cost estimate find that real quick. At $5,283,781, well, let me go back, $5,847,159 I find that a little high. I spoke to James also before the meeting. Engineering fees, basically at, if you look at the contract, 5% for basic compensation, 8%. 8% engineering services, 1.5 for construction, and 2.5, which are a total of 8, 9, 10, 11%. I know we had another engineering firm, and I don't want to get, I know Jamie has the right to pick whoever he wants, but talking with James, they had another engineering firm that came in at 6%. And look, I know we're looking at local versus out of state, out of parish, but when you're looking at the difference in price, where theirs came in at 2 million something, and this coming estimated at 5 million, I just think that's too big of a discrepancy. So maybe we need some clarification on where's the discrepancy at, or what can be done to lower that cost.
I've heard there was fears of hidden cost in the 2-point-something million. I'd like an explanation on that as well.
Yes, it is some hidden cost. Be glad to sit down and go over it with anybody. I have it all marked up. It's a lot of hidden cost in it and the method of construction don't fit South Louisiana, the method of construction, so it actually would actually have to be another contract, because the method of construction will not work down here.
So the quote from the 2-point-whatever million wouldn't suffice in this area?
No, sir. It's for, like, say, East Baton Rouge, Livingston Parish, somewhere where they got a little bit more stability.
Can I speak up based on just?
Sure, Mr. Pisciola.
Basically,
Mike, please.
I can't,
It's on.
I think it's
Just gotta
on,
get
huh?
close.
Name and address, please, for the
Joe
record.
Pisciola, Pisciola and Associates, 115 Pisciola Parkway and Cutoff. James Barnes came to us and asked us to do an estimate, gave us a list of streets, basically a length of streets. And it's customary, and when we do these projects, and we've been doing these projects for the parish for quite a long time, that we come up with an estimate of probable cost, okay? And based on the unit cost of what we've done in the past, okay, for this area, and based on the scope of work that was given to us by DPW, this is the estimate we came up with. Now, James and I had some discussions about our estimate, and we both kind of think our estimate is high, okay? But I really think that, at this point, at a preliminary stage, we should be a little bit high, but maybe not as high as we are, okay? And James is saying that he's got some information from some pricing on some recent projects that might lower our estimate of probable cost. But our engineering contract is the standard engineering contract that we've been going by since before Ms. Randolph had taken administration. So it's been in effect like that for probably on the order of 15 or 16 years. But, I mean, we're willing to renegotiate our engineering fees somewhat, to get the work. We need the work, okay? All the engineers in this parish need work. And I understand your concerns about our estimate being so high, but right now it's just an estimate of probable cost. I mean, we're plan on meeting with DPW and actually meeting with the councilmen in the areas to discuss the scope of work on each street and really prioritize what should be done first You know, if we get, and we'll do a more detailed cost estimate and come back to you and say, all right, this is what we think based, now that we've talked to everybody. But that's usually how we do road projects. I mean, it's not just, you know, go forward, here's all the money and go do it. It never happens that way. I mean, it's a lot of, you know, going back and forth with the administration and also going back and forth and get the councilman's input. Because you know, guys know, I mean, when somebody gets mad on the street, something needs to get done, the first person they call is the councilman. So that's the way we like to handle it. But anyway, I mean, that's my spiel. I mean, if you have any questions about what we did, I'd be glad to answer them.
Mr. Lafont.
Yeah, and the thing that scares me about this, and James and I discussed it, and I think James is in agreement with me. If you put a number at 5.2 million, and a contractor sees that, and Daniel, you've been saying it forever. If they know they got that money available, guess what? They're gonna try to spend it all.
It's like that every time.
So, you know, I like to see us go with a lower number, and they might say, oh, you know what, we can come in and go with it. I just can't support something at 5, and then if you're saying you could renegotiate your contract, then I think we ought to defer it till we renegotiate this contract a week or two and come back at the next meeting with a lower price, because, you know, things are not the same. The cost of doing business is not the same as it was 2 years ago in all businesses. So I like to see it come lower. If there's some hidden costs, I'd like to maybe even find out what's the hidden costs of the other engineer. But like I know it's up to Mr. Jimmy, but it's up to us if we vote for it or not also. But, you know, and I know you in my district. Your business is in my district.
Mr. Bourgeois.
I just have a quick question, actually. Either one of you can explain it, but can you elaborate a little bit on the different methods, comparing the apples to apples? I mean, I'm just saying what we have. I understand what Mr. Barnes says, that the methods are different for that. Can you just elaborate a little bit on that for, not detail, but just general?
I mean, Mr. Barnes worked with the other engineering firm, and I don't know what they did. So, I mean, and really ethically, it wouldn't be right for me to comment on that. But I can tell you that working in lower Bayou Lafourche, when you get in towards, away from the bayou and you get down into the swamp areas, you can't use things like salt cement. And some of the equipment that you have to specify to the contractor that they can't use oversized equipment. They have to use specialized equipment that's built for residential streets. If not, the equipment that they use is going to tear up the street before you even get in there. And early on the stages in the late 1990s when we started this project, we realized real fast that, you know, some of these things, you know, you had to watch out for, and you had to really put that in your specifications beforehand so you don't run into trouble in the end and the parish gets the bill.
Mr. Lorraine.
Yeah, I just want to say that Picciola Associates and some of the other engineers have been doing work streets since 1997. And there's other engineers that have gotten work. But we've delayed, this project should have been done already. This is a year we're trying to put this together, a whole year. But it comes down to one thing. It comes down to the parish president picks and chooses the engineer. James Barnes, who does a good job on both sides, he was once a contractor. He did a lot of contract work. He asked us more than once to go meet with him so he could lay it out. Some didn't show up. So I think we delayed it enough. Gentlemen, by voting for this tonight, we're going to be lucky to start something this summer. We keep delaying it and delaying it, we're never going to get it going. And the longer we wait, the more streets that are breaking. The list keeps getting longer. You should do a road project every year, especially in our condition. The amount of funds we have, it should be done every year. Now we down, we didn't do nothing last year. And if we wait again, Try to get it done for the summer where the weather's good, and you can get the work done. I'm not forgiving anybody any extra money, but you're gonna get paid for what you do. And don't delay it, whatever y'all do, don't delay it, just let it go and get it going.
Mr. Otan.
And I put all
Oh,
my faith
go ahead.
in Barnes. And I think Barnes does a good job for everybody. And that's what he found. So I think we have to take his advice. If we got employees that are working for us and we can't take their advice, we'll just assume they go home. And I got all my faith in him. It's just that it's Jimmy's, and Jerry said it, it's Jimmy's choice. Now, all we could do is vote for it or vote against it. But don't you think we need to move on this? Orman, you got streets, I got streets. Now, I can tell you one thing, I've seen some of the streets. Some of them, they might have fixing from, let's just say 308 all the way to the back. But you could come back and say, wait a minute, we're gonna fix where it's just broken at. You understand? So that's gonna be between us three to sit down with James and Jimmy and the engineer. And I'm sure we can come to, we might have to cut some streets. But what I'm trying to say, the list keeps getting longer and longer and longer because it's over a year and we need to move. So I'm asking you not to delay it.
Mr. Otan.
Yeah, I want to thank Joe for being open to renegotiating, and hopefully Mr. Jimmy can put some of that business experience to use and do a little more jugging for us, if you will. I have spoken to James extensively about this, and my only reservation, Daniel, is the 4.1 alleged amount that we have versus the 5.8 estimated. So I certainly wouldn't want to see us approve $5.8 million worth of work when we only have 4.1. I know we have some funds coming, but I just don't think it's prudent to approve so much more money than what we actually have. If anybody can maybe comment on what your feelings are on that.
But, all you're doing is hiring an engineer. You didn't award the contract for $5 million. You just hired an engineer to go put it together. And then if it's $5 million or $6 million, then we got to sit down and make some cuts to balance it off. You're just hiring the engineer to get the stuff prepared. Then when you come to bid it out, that's when you got your figures.
But the engineering fees are based on a percentage of what the contract actually bids at. Whenever you get the bid in, our fees are based on a percentage of that number. So on this contract that's proposed today, there's no dollar amount. If you tell us tomorrow our budget on this project is $2 million, we'll go work to make a project that's going to fit that $2 million.
So we're not locking
Whatever it
into a
is.
figure on this resolution?
Not at all.
You locking into the engineering fees,
Yes.
and he just said he could lower it. So if he could lower it, then why would you vote for it tonight? Give him 2 weeks. The project's been, I've been waiting for it for a year. What's 2 more weeks if we could save money? Why delay it? Because Daniel, it's not our money, it's the taxpayers' money, and you gotta
We're
be
in
frugal.
lean times right now, gentlemen. I mean,
Why don't you do
It's
this?
not at $4 or $5 million. That's estimated. He could probably make some cutbacks on that right away. We might,
At
it's
$4 million,
estimated, gentlemen.
I mean,
Why
on the
kill it?
basic engineering curve, we'll lower our basic engineering fee to 6%, but plus the construction, plus the surveying. Does that help you?
If we make an amendment, 6% plus what?
Plus the 1.5 for surveying, construction, and the 2.5 for surveying, right?
We save 2% right there. I'm fine. You mind if I amend it?
No.
I don't think we can amend that contract. It have to come from the administration.
Can y'all, can they amend it? The contract, he can.
Reggie, are you amending it? Okay.
Why, you don't want to say 2%?
I want to say whatever I can, but I want to get the roads done. I'm tired
But that's what he's doing, he's amending it to save 2%.
we got a chance to hire an engineer, we're going to
Yeah, I mean,
Hey, 3% of $5 million is a good clip, so Thank you for that.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman? My question is, why are we accepting bids from somebody? Why wasn't the other bid or services contract just thrown out if it wasn't engineered or right for our area? Just throw
Parish
it out.
president makes that call.
An accident. Why don't we just throw out the other bid? If it's not engineered the way you want, or the specifications that come in, if they're not going to fit our roads, throw them out versus even sharing a number.
I don't think they were required to even put it out to bid.
No, that was not required. It was just to get a ballpark and a method of construction that they was going to do to give us some numbers to look at. But we have already spent a total of 120 hours on this contract, 120 man-hours. And it's still not up to speed, and the method is not for down here, the method of construction.
I would just hope in the future we clear as to what equipment needs to be used, and, you know, we want to support engineers in the parish, but if we could save some money with somebody outside, and if it's $2 million and they can do it with that equipment, you know, we need to look at it for sure.
For
Thank
sure,
you.
for sure.
Mr. LaFawn, you sponsoring the amendment?
That's fine.
You want to read the line that's changed, Ms. Coley?
Yes, sir. Page 6 of the contract. A, basic services. Number 1, basic service engineering fees for this project. It reads, shall be 8%. We are going to amend it to read 6%. Okay? Everybody understands?
All right, so the amendment, we got a move by Mr. LaFont, second by Mr. Armin Otam. All in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Any opposed? 801. 8001. I read that book you gave me. All right, we're going to vote on resolution as amended. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? 8001 passes.
Saved y'all 2%.
Good job. They're just going.
Do we go back to the regular agenda?
Second by Mr. LaFont. Yeah, let's take a 5-minute recess, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, we have to go back to regular agenda.
Okay, all right.
We had a motion on the floor.
So a motion to go back regular agenda by Mr. Bourgeois, second by Mr. LaFont. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? 8001. We're going to take a 5-minute recess. Okay, 6 minutes, Ms. Carleen.
Thank you. Now, you have to remember, we have to go back to the chut-chut, so it's going to take a little longer. No joke.
Oh,
I'm not
yeah.
trying to be
No, you can go in the hallway. You don't have to go back through.
going outside.
Yeah, just to make sure you got an opportunity. Amendment number 1, to grant between the Louisiana Workforce Commission and Lafourche Parish. You deferring that one, okay.
Yeah. Also, item 24.
February 14th, Valentine's Day. 13th?
Yeah, 14.
All right.
Item 24 also.
24 as well. Item 25, resolution requesting the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development to establish a no-passing zone from 1132 Highway 3185 to Ridgefield Road, Thibodaux, Louisiana, due to the heavy traffic entering and exiting both sides of the highway. Moved by Mr. Jones, second by Mr. Bourgeois. Moving to a vote, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0.
Like to pull item 26.
Pull or defer?
Pull.
All right. Item number 27, resolution approving a lease agreement between Warren J.
Like to
Harang.
defer that one.
Defer number 27.
February 14th.
Item number 28, resolution appointing one member to the Lafourche Parish Commission for Women Board. Ms. Esposito.
I'd like to nominate Ms. Shanisha Rounds.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Congratulations. Item number 29, resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement between the Lafourche Parish government, the Lafourche Parish Sheriff, and Lafourche Parish Clerk of Court in the 17th Judicial District Court for security at the courthouse and courthouse annex in Thibodaux, Louisiana, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Grow. Second by Mr. Lafont. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Item number 30, resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and Lafourche Parish Drainage District Number 1 for two 2017 Chevrolet 2500 HD Crew Cab 4x4 short bed trucks for work within the Lafourche Parish Drainage District Number 1 area, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Lorraine, second by Mr. O-Town. Any discussion?
Chairman, I'd like
Yes,
to
sir,
ask
Mr.
Mr.
Jones.
Lorraine, can we make an amendment to that and have the truck come down in the North Lafourche area?
If you stretch the district.
Any more discussion? Move it to a vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 31, resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and South Louisiana Economic Council, SLEC, for the 2017 membership dues in the amount of $25,000, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Groh, second by Mr. Jones. Mr. Groh, you have something?
Yes, I'd like to give Mr. Vic Lafont a few moments to do a brief presentation.
Name and address, please, sir.
Vic Lafont, 533 Good Street, Thibodaux, Louisiana. I'd also like to inform the council that during the break I was informed by Congressman Groh that to keep it short, if not, he would oppose my funding. So I'm going to keep this like really, really short. That's one way to do it, though, I'll tell you what. It's a good way to do it, too. Okay, you have two documents that I handed out earlier, real quick. One is the last fourth quarter barometer for the year, 2016. There was not that much of a difference between the second quarter and the third quarter. However, there was from the second and third quarter to the fourth quarter. The rig count is up 8 by 8. We have, as you can see, there were a number of, other than the oil and gas industries, there were other sectors that did pretty well, particularly in the technical services, utilities, education, and IT area. Over $200 million in contract awards were won by local industry, including the Metal Shark, Conrad Industries, Swift Ships, Bollingers, and Edison Trust Offshore. Over $150 million in projects were completed and announced, including the Thibodaux Regional Medical Wellness Center, the Marine and Petroleum Safety Training Center in Morgan City, the Port of Morgan City Operations Center, and of course, CLECO opened up a power plant there as well. Bottom line is this, keep it short, something's happening and it's not bad, okay? We've stopped the hemorrhaging on the job loss by the numbers, okay? It seems like things are stabilizing somewhat, so that's encouraging. What's even more encouraging, and we're going to be optimistic, is that what Jerry Lafont said, Councilman Lafont said earlier about getting Garrett Graves there as chairman of this Transportation and Water is huge for us. That's a given, okay? But you can also talk about Scalise, you're right. He's got the ear of the president, but also something that affects all of us, constituent everything, is Cassidy's got his amendment and his bill for Obamacare to regroup on that. So, but probably what's making us more optimistic is what we didn't plan on is that the second document you have here is the strategic plan that out of 8 months, we finally completed that. A lot of focus groups, a lot of surveys, and basically it's going to cover those areas of recruitment of industry, retaining industry. Our footprint is supporting our infrastructure and being the advocacy for this area. This document, though, by the way, you'd like to cover, it's the studies did show that it is the focal point of our economics, and that's Port Fourchon, which is on the cover, okay? We also have performance measures in there to see that we're going to be revisiting every year, and it's going to be a bigger part of my third document that's not prepared yet, and we're completing those documents. Of those, it's probably a summary of all of the 4 quarterly reports I did for the year, but it's going to be more conclusive, and that's our annual review, and we should have that by next month, hopefully. But I'd like to say that this document is important in that we thought we were getting ready for the comeback, and that's what this whole thing was designed for. What we didn't account for is how fast it's going to come back. And with the current administration, I mean, these guys are going at the speed of light, okay? So two things, critical things, Jerry, you pointed them out. One is that slows up all of our projects. One is the Corps of Engineers. Historically, their comfort zone is the rivers, okay, not the swamplands or the coast. So he's going to pull a lot of that stuff out and say, "The heck with you, regulate. Screw the study. Let's get to it." And then, of course, you got Trump and the administration, and he's just signed this pipeline. He just signed it, okay. What that means for all of us is big. That is our bread and butter industry. So we're optimistic. And I also want to thank the council. For one thing, I am really enjoying my relationship with y'all. I've talked to y'all from time to time. Y'all allow me to come at any time to speak and to present whatever I feel is of importance to the citizens, and particularly y'all and the citizens. And it's showing that you folks are opening your emails that I'm sending you, whether it be my barometer or what have you. Okay? About 70% of y'all. So I want to thank you for doing that, because before I didn't have that type of communication or that openness before with y'all. And continually, and I haven't had a chance, I've gotten with everyone personally, but I know I haven't been able, James, I know you've been busy with your demolition company. I know what your schedule is, Corey, you know. And I think those two alone, and I think I got with everybody else before, but I don't mind sitting down with any of you at any time to discuss any of the projects we're working on, especially if it's there's some confidentiality involved with it. Okay. Any questions?
Any questions? Mr. Lorraine?
Oh, I do have something.
I got a question for us, a good one. How much money did the Port Commission give you?
Port Commission here? 10.
Greater Lafourche Port Commission?
10.
10? So can we subtract 10 from the 25?
You want to negotiate it?
You double dip?
Talk to Jerry. I don't know, talk to Jerry. You're good at it, not me.
We'll deduct 2%. How's that?
Also, I do, but where's Councilman Esposito? We did, is Gretchen still here, or did she leave? We got with the parish finally and discussed how we can get this. By Friday, we asked that she put the strategic plan and the quarterly report, because it was only updated up to the second quarterly report. The issue we had was you can still get to these reports via your own, the parish website, but you got to go to the select link to get to that report and drill down. We're trying to find a way to make it a little bit more accessible to anyone in the public, and trying to post it before these meetings so that someone can take a look at it. And you should have gotten it you got it by email automatically, because you're on my Yahweh master list, email list. And so we're working on that, Lucy. But I know Gretchen was working on, they were redesigning some things with the website, but they're eager and they want the same things we want. So we're working on that. So that's a response to what you had asked about last time.
Mr. LaFond, do you want your do you want your handouts to be a part of the minutes or exhibits on file with the council clerk's office?
It doesn't matter, whatever. Yeah, you know. Ms. Carlene, you can help me with that. Yeah.
Any further questions? Discussion with Mr. LaFond? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank y'all.
All right, let's move it to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Congratulations, sir. Number 32, resolution rescinding resolution number 16-357 that approved the transfer of appropriation 16-009 in the amount of $140,000 from line item boat launches Chack Bay, Choctaw and Kramer 16001 to line item concrete improvement Terrio boat launch 14001, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Esposito. Second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 33, resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement. Man, that's a tongue twister for me for some reason. Between the LSU Ag Center and Lafourche Parish government to support and administer Louisiana cooperative units off campus, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. LaFont, second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion? Move it to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Item number 35, resolution approving amendment number 1 to the contract between Lafourche Parish Government and Duplantis Design Group, PC, for engineering services for the project entitled Drainage Improvements for Diplomat Way and Eau Claire Drive, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Jones, second by Mr. Grow. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 36, resolution accepting the low bid from Byron E. Talbot Contractor, Inc. in the amount of $1,037,866.70. Got to get that 70 cents in. For the project entitled Drainage Improvements for Diplomat Way and Eau Claire Drive, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer an agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Jones, second by Mr. Grow. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 37, resolution approving an assignment agreement from Better Waste Disposal, LLC, to Waste Pro of Louisiana, Inc., Waste Pro, for waste removal services, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Lorraine, second by Mr. Grow. Any discussion? Mr. Bourgeois.
Yeah, I have some just curious questions about this to get my understanding about it. All right, Better Waste Disposal is owned by Byron Talbot and some partners, which is a Lafourche-based entity. Waste Pro, I understand, is out of Florida. I understand the purchase and all of that. If we don't approve this resolution, does that mean we can put it out to bid and possibly hire another local company? Does that give us, I'm just asking the question, or can we do that, is my question.
That's a good question.
Mr. Lorraine.
Yeah, what this is, James, is that Better Waste sold out to Waste Pro, which is Deuce McAllister. So I'm assuming the contract that you have with them continues until it expires. Then you could make some changes.
So basically,
I'm not
we're
a
just
lawyer,
changing
but
the name because the company was bought by...
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, in other words, Talbot Better Waste sold out to Deuce McAllister and all. They pick up the garbage in Terrebonne Parish. It's the same company.
I don't know if that would,
Yes.
if it's still legally binding on the contract, though.
That was my question. I mean,
Well,
I'm
it'd
not
be the
for or
same
against, I
thing
just want
like
to know
with-
if we're
with
bound to
the kid.
accept it.
Normally, contracts has heirs and assign. For instance, if a pipeline sells to another pipeline, it says heirs and assign. And I don't see I didn't see the language in the contract, but normally it's in the contract. And then somebody purchases it, they sign the contract to them, whoever purchases it. That's why they
A
purchase it.
continuation of the
Right.
existing.
Right.
Okay. Mr. LaFont.
But I mean, that would be a legal thing that if y'all want to check into, Ms. Lisa Ogeron would have to, but I'm sure that it's assigns.
Okay.
Because they all do it. I mean, it's.
That makes sense to me. I mean, it just makes good sense that if they were bought out, it's a continuation of the existing contract, just changing the name and signatory.
They're taking a name off for liability, is all they're doing. And, but I think we should definitely look into possibly rebidding it. I remember the bid, it wasn't, I don't think it's more than a year, that we did.
If we can, I mean, that's something that'd be a legal matter that Ms. Lisa would have to look at.
And this is for our residency trash pickup?
No, I think it's dumpsters.
Dumpsters, okay. Mr. LaFont?
I'm with James. I'd like to see, before we vote on, if we can, Mr. Cantrell, would it be, is time consuming? Can we wait 2 weeks and see?
Well, if y'all want to check it out, I would.
To request a quote?
Y'all can pass it and I can hold it, and then, whatever you want to do.
No, if we pass it, then it becomes law. I think we'd have to.
No, not until I sign it, right?
They bought the account, I think in the paperwork said around September. They're just trying to make it, the paperwork change. I mean, we're not doing business with Better Waste. We're doing business with Waste Pro.
I understand
And we're just
that.
changing the verbiage. I think we can look at any new contracts after and see if we can get out.
When does the
Maybe we have a
existing
reason to get out.
contract expire?
We don't know that. I don't know that.
Is it open-ended or?
No, it's not open-ended. It's on, most contracts have a period of time. I didn't see the contract. I didn't read it. But that's another thing. I mean, you have to have somebody like Miss Lisa look at it and go over it. I mean, if y'all want to do it, I'll bring it to her and you vote on it. I'll hold it off until we get a definite yes or no from Miss Lisa.
Yeah, we can do that. just vote it, and if we could benefit the residents, we can hold off on
Right,
it.
I can hold off on it
go
until
there.
I check with Miss Lisa.
Mr. Bourgeois.
I mean, my only thing of it is, I think when this contract was signed, Pelican Waste and Debris didn't bid on it because they weren't in that business. And that's just, they are the new Lafourche Parish resident contractor. I mean, I think they're located in Mr. Lorraine's district. I just, you know, if there's an opportunity for them.
I'm not a lawyer, but it's just like an oil lease. Oil leases change hands, all companies come and go, they're bought out, same landowner. It's just changed, all the thing has changed is the name, and we can vote on it whenever y'all want, it's just, that's how it is.
Yeah,
Mr.
Chairman.
Jones.
Yeah, Sweetie did that when they sold out to Progressive, and we came in a resolution and signed off on it, so.
Their business stinks.
Right.
No, that's from our.
They make
But
money, but business stinks.
All right, any other further discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 38, resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement between Lafourche Parish government, Parish, and the Greater Lafourche Port Commission Port to provide funding for the construction of Phase 1 of the Lafourche Parish Airport Access Corridor Project and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Lorraine, second by Mr. Lafont. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Section N, questions for the administration, Session 2. Are there any? I do have a question myself for the administration. Okay. I relinquish the chairmanship to the co-chair for my question. Okay, we had a, what's her name, Miss Ray earlier from Top Drawer came and gave us a presentation. I think she's gone now, right? What is the benefit of that contract? Because it seems to me that she stood up here saying everything's pretty much up to the legislator. She's basically asking them on our behalf to vote a certain way or not vote a certain way. What benefit are we getting? What has she done for us to justify, what is it, $16,000 or something like that? Or no, 40-something thousand dollars that we're contracting her for? Just a question I'd like to know. I think others would like to know as well.
Well, she monitors the legislature, which we don't have time. We'd have to stay there 24/7. And all the things that other parishes like Terrebonne, most of that stuff was done by Gordy Dove when he was in the legislative, and so he's reaping the benefits of it this year. But she monitors the legislative. She tells us what's good. She helps us out on projects, capital outlay. Without her, I mean, that's why North Lafourche has one. That's why everybody has a legislative person in Baton Rouge. And without that person, a lot of things would slip through the fingers, and we'd probably lose a lot more. Like she fought very hard to keep that $10 million in the vessel tax. If it wouldn't have been with her and a few others, we'd have lost that $10 million in income. So it's a job. Sometimes you don't see the benefits of, but everything she does is always monitoring and everything that goes on. There's no way anybody can stay in the legislative unless that's part of it, and you know the intricate workings of the legislative, and she knows it, and she has the governor's ear, which helped us out on the vessel tax tremendously. So there's a lot of other things she should be doing for us, and it's just amount of
Okay, it just seemed like she was kind of just giving us an update on legislative news or something, and I was like, okay, what are you doing specifically to earn that $40-something thousand?
She's helps us in a lot of ways, and she's keeping our stuff that we have up front. So I don't know if we're going to get it or not, because everybody's fighting for the same dollar. But we did have, we did reap a lot of things that we will get from her, and it's kept as number one and not going back to 5 or whatever it is. And the state's in bad shape, so you have to have somebody to speak for you there all the time.
Okay, appreciate it. Mr. Grove.
I was just going to say, I think she does a good job, and I think we're getting her for a good deal in terms of what you can actually pay a lobbyist. And she, she came highly recommended when we first voted on her from different legislators in our area, that she does have the governor's ear. I mean, she was employed by him before and working on this campaign. So I think she does a good job, and I know she fought tirelessly with Wendy and a lot of other people in Baton Rouge, our assessor, to stop that vessel tax. I just find it disheartening that we have somebody like Brad Allen, who represents our area, working against us. I don't get that. Who? Brett Allen, who's runs the committee and having a study group on it. That mind boggles me. And if she could just work on anybody, she should be working in his ear the whole time. It's just, if we don't have somebody that represents our area with the same values or, goals that we have down here, why would somebody in Shreveport listen?
Right, I just want to make sure we're getting a return on that investment.
I think we are, I really do. I think a lot of it's intangible, similar to VIX money. I mean,
understood.
You got to trust the system.
Okay, Mr. LaFont.
Real quick, the only thing that concerns me, and I stated a little while ago, is you're representing two people. And
Neighbors.
if I'm representing somebody, and I might like one person, and she said she didn't do that, and I hope she didn't. However, I attended a meeting, and Mr. Jimmy was there this week. Mr. Jones, you sit on that committee, you were busy, couldn't make it. But South Central Planning, they represent 7 parishes. Well, 2 parishes want to leave, they want to join, they want to be a part of South Central Planning, this district, but they also want to be part of South Central Planning in the Y'all district because they get bigger money, right? And so the question was brought up, well, where's your loyalty whenever we both fighting for the same project?
Right.
So where are you going to stand? Are you going to have 4 voting members on there? And you're going to have, so where do you want to fight that? That's the only concern I have when we do that. And I know Terrebonne Parish has a lot more legislation than we do that represent the parish, and that's probably why they get a little more. But I'm with you, and maybe we use it this year, and we look. I know Mr. Jimmy has somebody in his staff, Doug Sheremy, who's got some experience in that, and Doug seems to know everybody over there. So maybe we could send Doug over there, and he can really be doing some work.
Thank you. Mr. Lorraine.
Yeah, from sitting up here so long, I can see the difference of what's going on now versus what was going on before. I think she's representing us in Terrebonne. I think Terrebonne has the edge because their parish president was once a representative, and the senators from over there. And so that means a lot. I mean, I'm sure he knows a lot of them representatives in there, and once you know them, you can get a lot more out of somebody you know than you don't know. And that carries a lot of weight. And I think she does a fine job. She keeps us updated. She does well. And I'm going to tell you this, if it wouldn't be for her, I think the vessel tax would be long gone. Now, I'm not telling you it's not long gone now. There's a possibility. They're still after that, some of these representatives. But what they got to look at, that's the tube of Lafourche, but it's also a big chunk for the state of Louisiana, the Fouchon. But I think they have the edge on the representatives and the senators from over, and he'll help us, the senator will help us, but it's the parish president got a lot more experience than the one we have, and he served with them guys, so that makes a difference.
Roger that.
And that's just my opinion.
Ms. Esposito.
I think we all also need to realize that it's our responsibility as council members to also form relationships with our delegation ourselves and to speak up. I'm hoping to meet with Senator Allen before the special session begins in February, and it may be a good idea for other council members as well as the parish president to meet. No one can tell our story the way that we can, and I think we really need to spend some time with Senator Allen and work ourselves with our delegation. We need to, it's our responsibility too.
Mr. Cantrell.
Well, coming back to what Daniel said, remember Gordy was in the legislature for 12 years. And a lot of these projects that she's taking credit for, that was already done by Mr. Dove and Senator Chabaz in that district. So they get a little better hands up on getting projects because they have the legislative people that serve. And all the projects they're getting now, it's not projects that she got, it's projects that Mr. Gordy Dove put in in play before he got out of the legislature.
That's why I was asking about the return on our investment. I mean,
But she, without her monitoring, we'd have lost a lot more money. I guarantee,
projects.
than the projects.
Okay.
And what she got paid is very little compared to what the money would have lost if we'd have lost the vessel tax. And she single-handed it, saved it for us with a few other people in the parish. But Mr. Holland, for whatever reason, and I met with him several times, he represents part of Thibodeau, but it seems like we talked him to Miss Wendy Thibodeau was on battle with him, and I was with Wendy, the sheriff was with Wendy, and we fought him tooth and nail, and finally, he succeeded because we just kept on pecking at him, and she had the ear of the governor, which helped out a hell of a lot.
Okay.
So, I mean, listen, you can't see what you're doing. It's like when you educate a kid. But when you build a house, you can see what you do in 6 months. But when you educate a kid, you don't know what the kid's going to turn out to be. And this is the same thing over here.
Mr. Grove.
I was just going to say, a few of us attended the Visitors Bureau's unveiling of the new Lafourche slogan. I'd encourage everybody to go to their website or go to YouTube and look for it. I think they knocked it out the park. They tell a story, kind of like Lucy just said. We know our own story. It's where the true Cajuns live, and they're using the bayou in a lot of the ads. I think they did a phenomenal job. I don't know if anybody that attended feels the same way, but I encourage all the public to rally behind that, and let's get some visitors coming through the parish.
All right, thank you. Moving along to section 0, or O, council reports, presentations, updates, and our questions, session 2. Mr. Lorraine.
Mr. Chairman, I think you and I don't want to blame it on you. We forgot them 2 resolutions we got to bring from the floor. You got one and I got one.
That's at the end.
Oh, okay.
We can move on that after this section.
Okay, I just didn't want to forget it.
Okay. Yeah, we still have another section. Mr. Otan.
Yeah, we have another meeting before, but I just want to mention, because I would certainly, I'm going to challenge other councilmen to get involved, but the annual Lafourche cleanup is scheduled for Saturday, March 11th, 8 a.m. to noon, and I certainly challenge all the other councilmen to get out and get with your people and get with your nonprofits and get them involved to help us clean up the community.
And thank you for being a major part of that. I know you rally a lot of people to that cause, and it doesn't go unnoticed. All right, moving along to section P. Any further discussion? Being none, we have resolutions from the floor. Mr. Lorraine. Microphone.
This is for, let's see, resolution approval and cooperative endeavor agreement between the Lafourche Parish government and VITA Volunteer Income Tax Assistance United Way for you for free tax preparations to the citizens of Lafourche Parish of the Gallian Annex, and authorizing the parish to sign, execute, and minister said agreement and any and all relevant documents.
Moved by Mr. Lorraine.
I move.
Second by Mr. Lafont. And what this is, and I have one just after this, this organization is providing a service of doing people's taxes that that might not be able to afford to go to an H&R Block and stuff like that. And they're what location down the bayou?
They're going to be in the Lafourche Parish government building, the library, but to the left in the conference room.
Okay, and then here in Raceland, they're going to be at the recreation center. So this is definitely a great thing that these gals and guys do for our community.
I think, Mr. Chairman, I think you have to qualify to get done.
Name and address, please.
Cheryl Cavalier, 106 Hamilton Street, La Rose, Louisiana. This program is through IRS. United Way helps us get a grant for our supplies. It's called VITA. We used to do it, to begin with, Denise Hughes had it when she worked for Lafourche Parish government. And then she took it over when she got out from here. And we did it through the libraries. The library doesn't allow us to do it in the libraries anymore. So after Denise passed away, I approached Mr. Jimmy to see if we can do it in the government buildings. So this year, I need one government building on the bayou. And at your next meeting, I'm going to approach y'all for another building. But for tonight, I would like to see if I could have the Down the Bayou building. What it is it's free tax services. There's no charge, no fees whatsoever, zero. We cannot accept anything from anybody, no meals, no nothing, no money, nothing. I think the top salary is $54,000, if I'm not mistaken, for this year. It's for anyone who makes $54,000 or under. If I'm not mistaken, Arlene found the paper and supposed to have put it in the packet with y'all, that she printed out for y'all. So all I'm asking is that we can have the building twice a week. It should be Wednesday and Fridays, and if y'all close on one of those days, we ask for another data.
They close on Fridays.
I was told that they do have somebody there on
Works Monday
Fridays.
through Thursday, correct?
They said that they do have somebody there on Fridays.
No, that building is open on Fridays too.
The building itself is,
You got the clerk
okay,
of court, you
okay.
have the
Just
assessor.
making sure.
And then if they are closed on Fridays, we want the Thursday.
No, you have it's open on Friday.
On Good Friday, they close.
On Good Friday? Well, I'm not gonna be there either.
So we would do Holy Thursday, and that would be our last day anyway.
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna get 2 buildings tonight, so you ain't gotta worry about asking for another one. Mr. LaFont?
No, let's vote.
All right, let's move it to vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Passes 9-0.
Thank y'all.
You're very welcome. And then we have another resolution from the
You want me
floor.
to read yours? Resolution, he's doing it? Okay,
Yeah,
go ahead.
Bo has.
Let's go, let's roll.
Resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and VITA, Volunteer Income Tax Assistance United Way, Lafourche Community, concerns citizens for a free tax preparation to the citizens of Lafourche Parish at the Recreation District Number 2 Emergency Recreation and Community Center, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said and any and all relevant documents.
I'll move.
Moved by Mr. LaFont, second by Mr. Bourgeois. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 9-0.
Motion adjourned.
Motion by Mr. LaFont, second by Mr. Bourgeois. All in favor? Any opposed? Meeting adjourned at 7:26 p.m.